All right, so we are on our exercise for section 2, how to take a minute to watch Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal. Actually, he's not doing anything in this 2016 Euro 2016. And I'm surprised Portugal is even in the semis. By the way, um, I've got the exercise ready, and it's 3:40 a.m. right now, but I will try and do this exercise myself before I go to bed. All right, we're gonna create a file called exercise2.php. All right, and we're gonna keep this file in our exercise working files. All right, now I want you to read this everything here very very carefully. All right, because it's abstract. You need to do a little bit of thinking to get this right. Okay. You got contacted by a senior manager from virtuallines.com. I'm not sure if this exists. I just made it up. And it sounds nice too. Virtuallines.com. And he wants you to, he wants the following to be set up by the company. All right. The company's online backend management system. So basically he wants you to, he wants to process the following data, which is coming in from a form on the company's customer queries.php, and the form is also on this page. All right, so he's gonna collect username, secret word, email, age, full name, address, customer complaint, and he wants these data securely collected. All right, and he wants to know which super global variables that you will be using. All right, so in this question I want you to just give me a list of the super global variables that you're going to use to securely process this data. All right, and remember, it's on the same page. The form is on the same page as the query. Right? We're just assuming. Okay, we're just assuming. It's just an assumption. And secondly, he wants all the data to be validated and sanitized before they are passed to the process customer query for processing. This is a function, as you can see. It has a open and close bracket, right? So this is a function. Now, number 3, he wants to keep the customer username, all right? Username, this one, and email. He wants to keep it throughout the duration of the application until they sign out, to avoid creating more functions that will fetch for the user and secret word all the time. This should be email, all right, because you're keeping the username and the email. All right, that's what he wants. So you should know the kind of super global that you're going to use for this, and you're gonna create it. All right, you're gonna create using that super global. You're gonna create a variable, a super global variable that is going to keep this. I'm trying not to tell you the answer, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make you think and do this, right? And then the fourth one is he wants you to create a function that will verify the minimum secret length. All right, this secret word, right? The minimum secret word length, it shouldn't be less than 8. All right, it shouldn't be less than 8. So you're probably going to use a function called string length. All right, you can look that up. I just gave you the solution to this one, but still I want you to use that function. That function to create a function that will check for the minimum that will check and make sure that the minimum secret length is not less than 8 before it's passed to the form. All right, now the fifth one is he wants you to keep all the data coming in from the form in a variable. All right, in a variable, and write a function that will display all the data to the customer support team. All right, so basically here, all right, I'll just leave that to you to do. Just think about it, and please I would love for you to do this exercise. Okay, just think and do. If you can do this genuinely, all right, you can go back and watch the videos, go back and do some research. If you can do this genuinely, trust me, you can do any PHP tax. All right, now where are we? All right, okay. There's a note here that I want you to take care of, right? Take notice of. He wants all the functions to display error and success messages. All right, so you're going to be using the if and the echo state functions, right? Containing, and your echo statements, you contain the values, all right, that is coming in from the form, from these variables that you're going to create. All right, and he wants you to assume and use static values. All right, so we're not going to literally create a form, we're just going to use static values for these variables. All right, I hope the explanation is clear, so I'll pause the video and then I will do it. All right, it's almost 4 a.m. now, but I will do this, and I'll just show you my answer in a couple of minutes, but try and do yours too. All right, try and do it by yourself too. All right, I'll see you now. I'll see you in a bit. All right. It took me about 30 minutes because I really wanted to give you something that that makes sense. And also I was thinking that I could maybe put these files, all right, the exercises we are doing actually, with the solutions. I put it in a text file or any file, and then attach it, so that you can use it mainly for referential reasons. All right, I don't want you to, I really want you to do this before you try to check your solutions and stuff like that. But don't just go straight to the solutions. All right, it's not gonna help you, because this is not a copy and paste exercise. This is not an exercise that you copy and paste and try to change some things. It doesn't make you learn. All right, if you can do that 100 times and then still you'll flaunt in PHP. All right, this is what makes you a real PHP developer, when you take abstract words like this and then you convert it into something programmable. Right, now I just commented this out, and then this is the first thing I did. All right, I went ahead and created variables. Right, and these are raw because these are coming in from these have not been validated yet. All right, so I just copied everything here. All right, then I put raw, $ raw, and underscore to them, right? And then I assigned I assigned my static values to them, right? And if these were actually coming in from a form, what we would want to do is use the post method, right? Because he wants, look at it from the eye, he wants the data to be securely collected. All right, so we cannot use the get method, the get super global, right? So we're probably going to use the post, all right, and then put the name of the input field, and then probably use the trim function or the strip slashes function or whatever, just to clean, sanitize it, right? But if you read the note that I put down here, he just wants us to assume and use static values. All right, that is why I just did this. I'm saying he actually, when I was doing this, I felt like I was being contacted by a company to do this, right? I felt like it was real or something. Anyway, it's just virtual, it's just assumption. All right, so I went ahead and did this. All right, and then my solution for number 1 is to declare the super globals that I'm going to use, right? And remember, we are sending the form. All right, we are processing the form on the same page, so we're gonna need the server PHP self superglobal. All right, and also we want to collect the data securely, right? So we're going to use the server request method post superglobal. All right, and we're going to collect the data using the post superglobal. All right, so that was my solution for number one. All right, after I've done this, right, this so on number two, this is where we have to sanitize the data, right? We have to sanitize and clean the data, right? So what I did was I called the filter var function, all right? Then I passed in the raw username that I'm getting from here. See that? And then I passed it in here. Then I called the filter sanitize string, all right? Because it's a string, so we just have to clean it, all right? We just have to remove all any unwanted stuff over there, all right? And then the secret word, also I use filter var, then I called the secret word variable, then I use this filter sanitize string. For the email, I call the filter var, called the raw email, but I use the filter validate email, all right? So if we put anything here that is not a good email, we're not going to be able to echo it because we're calling a filter var email on it, right? And then the age, I used the filter validate integer, all right? Because the age has to be in an integer, all right? So that's what I did for age, and I expect you to do similar things. I do not expect you to use filter var string, all right, on age. That's not possible because this is not a string. The value we are getting in this variable is not a string, okay? Full name, address, and customer complete, all I applied the sanitized string, all right? So that was my solution for number two, all right? Now number three, basically you have to create a session, all right? Because he wants to keep the user name and email throughout the duration of the application until the user signs out, all right? So I created a session, I called it customer info, and I created an associative array. You could create any type of array for this, right? But I created the associative array, and I'm using username as the key value, email as the key value, and I'm assigning it to, right, the clean. You can see these are my clean variables now, right? I'm assigning it to the clean variables because now they are clean. Now I can use them, right? So you can actually assign a variable to a key value. I think I've already talked about this, right? And remember, only the first one, or if you had five, number one is going to have a comma, number two a comma, number three a comma, but the last one will not have a comma, right? So what I did was I tried to echo my my session to see if it's working, right? So I said echo session name is, then I concatenated it with session, then I called the section name, all right, or the array name, then I called the key value, and I said your email is session array name key value, right? And then I tested it, and it's here. This is the session name is Kobe B, and then the email is kobebryan@virtuallines.com, right? And if you look up in here, this is what I assigned to them. The email is the username is Kobe B, and then the email is kobebryan@virtuallines.com, right? So that's working. So that was my solution for number three. Now number four, we basically need to create a function that will validate the minimum secret word, right? So I created a function, I called it minimum secret word, and I'm passing in, you can see I'm passing in the clean secret word, right, variable, this one. I'm passing in the clean secret word variable, all right? If you don't pass this in, you're gonna get an error, all right? So now there are actually two ways to do this, okay? But whichever method you use, you need to call this function, all right? The string length, the str length. All you had to do was just go to Google all right, and go PHP function, to count string length, right? And then when you get in, make sure you're on a reliable site like W3 Schools. You just have to click on it and you see an example of this, all right, string length, all right. So that's what I did. So what I did was I called the string length and then I passed in my clean password, all right. Then I assigned it to a variable called counted secret word, all right. And then I kept it. I said if counted secret word is more than or equals to 8, because it shouldn't be less than 8, right? So now another way you can do this, all right, another way you can do this is to copy the whole thing here, all right, and then put it here like so, all right. So basically you are telling PHP that if this function counts this the value in this variable, all right, and is greater than or more or equals to 8, then execute this function. This will work too, all right. You can see it's working, right? But because I don't want you guys to be confused here, so what I did was I created a variable, all right, that is counting, that is holding a value which has the counted version of the secret word, all right. So I just called the variable. I said, look, you already have the counted value of the secret word. Why don't you just check if it is greater than or less than 8? Now, if it is greater than or less, or if it is greater than or equals to 8, echo your secret word is, all right. And I concatenated it with this secret word because that is what I think what is his name again, Mr. Senior Manager, right? That is what he wants us to do. He wants us to, if possibly, echo or display the error statement that contains the value, all right, in the form. So I expect you to do something like this. When you're echoing your statement, try and echo the value, all right, the value, and then the values are kept inside the variable. So I expect you to do some concatenation here. And if you see what happened here, I put a single quote here. Now single quote here is regarded as a string, as part of the strings, all right, because I want this word to be in a quote, right? And I think I did it. I was able to do it. So I went, your secret word MBA cannot be less than 8, and I can show you the secret word here. This is it. Secret word, the raw secret word has MBA, a static value called MBA, right? So yeah, that's it. I mean, you can go through, you can just go through what I did here. Now I had to call this function, all right, before it works. All right, remember to call your function. If you don't call your function, it's not going to work. Then I passed in a couple of break tags. And then the solution for number 5 is basically to create what? To create an array, right? So what I did was I created an array called all customers data, all right, which I passed in the clean values that I was getting, all right, the clean values that I created. Then I assigned it to the key values, all right. And then all I did was create a function called display all customers, all right. Then I passed in the name of the variable. So this is basically an associative array variable, okay. So I passed it in, and then we're running out of time, and then I just created this, all right, this function. Then I passed it in. Then I said, hey, support team, this query came in today. Then I created a for each loop, and then I called in, because there is no plural for data. Data is actually the plural form. The singular form is datum, right? So I said all customers data. For each all customers data as customers data, and then I echo the customer data, and then I called my function, and this is the result that I got. All right, so thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next section.